Welcome to QuickBites, public speaking tips and techniques you can digest in 5 minutes or less. Here's your host, Peter George.
The Three Musketeers, the Three Little Pigs, the Three Stooges, of the people, by the people, for the people. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Stop, look, and listen. Stop, drop, and roll. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Calm, confident, incredible. And just about any version of the age-old joke where the setup begins with three characters walking into a bar. Whether it's in communications, art, or even nature, threes often surround us. It's commonly known as the rule of three, and it's been used throughout recorded history. This rule suggests that things grouped in threes are more easily recognized, remembered, and retold. Also, our brains are constantly on the lookout for patterns, and since three is the smallest number of elements required in a pattern, it's the one that's most frequently seen and heard. But is the rule of three really a rule? Not necessarily. It's more of a guideline. But since it works, you should take advantage of it. And with that in mind, here are a few suggestions about how you can implement it in your talks. When creating a presentation, speakers often have three talking points. And for longer talks, they have three subpoints in each talking point. Diving in even further, sentences may include three items, such as the sentence I used earlier, which ended with recognized, remembered, and retold. Now let's see how you can take a few tips from the world of comedy. Comedians understand that there's magic in the rule of three, whether it's including three characters in a joke, telling three short jokes about the same topic, or setting up a pattern of three where the first two parts begin a pattern and the third part breaks it. When it comes to including three characters, I referred to this when I mentioned the bar joke. Comedians understand that using three characters can set patterns, create a rhythm, and/or develop conflict. You can follow their lead and do the same. As for the second part, many comedians will tell you that you should tell no more than three jokes in a row on any given topic. With three jokes, people usually expect the third one to be the last one. To add a fourth joke goes beyond expectations and often flops, kind of like beating a dead horse. However, on occasion, comedians will tell that fourth joke and garner laughs just from the absurdity of doing so. Although you're probably not telling jokes in your talk, you can take the advice and use only three talking points. Going on to a fourth may overwhelm your audience, making it difficult for them to keep track of all your points. This brings us to setting up a pattern. Comedians will often set up a joke by establishing a pattern and then unexpectedly breaking it. An example is, my favorite bands are the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Rubber. Yeah, it's corny, I know, but you get the idea. Where delivering a presentation differs from comedy is that speakers usually don't want to set up an audience's expectations and then put a twist at the end. Instead, you typically want to make it as easy as possible for them to follow what you're saying and the overall point you're making. However, there are times that you may want to switch things up in a logical way. For example, let's say your first two talking points explained how an attempt at correcting a problem failed. Your third point could focus on the effort that solves the problem. When you're crafting your next talk, remember to implement the rule of three. Then, when your audience has recognized the patterns, their minds will be at ease, making it easy for them to follow along with your stories and your talking points. As a result, they'll be more engaged, attentive, and receptive. Three Dog Night, Three Blind Mice, Past, Present, and Future. On your mark, get set, go.
Thank you for devouring another episode of QuickBites. Tune in Monday when you'll hear another episode of Public Speaking with Peter George, and again Thursday for your next episode of QuickBites. Until then, remember, when it comes to speaking in public, you've got this.